The spiritual path is not a narrow path. It appears to be the straight and narrow path. Like it's difficult because you are narrow. Your perspective is narrow. So, um, trying to change yourself is always going to seem difficult. As Nikola Tesla would say, if you want to understand the universe, you have to think in terms of energy and vibration. As a soul, or as a being, you and everything that you encapsulate, everything that you are aware of as being yourself, is vibrating at a specific frequency range that you keep coming back to. And whatever that frequency range is, you could give it a number if you wanted to on an infinite spectrum. That is who you think you are. That's what you are, essentially. And we're constantly coming into contact with other frequencies. This isn't spiritual talk or metaphysical talk. I'm talking about sound waves. I'm talking about electrical waves, radiation, just the energy, visual energy being transmitted through the eyes to the brain with meanings of just seeing someone's posture. If they're slouched over, that affects you because then you think, oh, they are depressed, or you see their facial expression that affects you vibrationally, and that changes the frequency of your brain waves. Anyway, there are higher frequencies and there are lower frequencies. Most people on Earth are in a low frequency, low enough to the point where they can only perceive separation. They can only perceive the third dimension, which means like the dimensions aren't visual things, okay? So stop thinking of them in that way as though like someone who is in a higher vibration like sees things differently. They might, but what it really means is third dimension is I see my finger here and I see my phone here and I think I am my body and that is my phone, and if a stranger comes and takes my phone away from me and runs away with it, I just lost my phone. That's third dimensional thinking. When you get to the higher dimensions, like I I'm not even going to talk about the numbers, but when you're at a higher vibration, you can see that everything is one, which means that it's all happening inside you and all happening inside your mind. So you are everything, and you are your phone. You are the guy that stole your phone, and it's all meant to happen. It's all connected, and to resist that when there's nothing you can do about it and be upset about it is silly, and that's higher dimensional thinking. And it completely severs you from suffering, and it allows abundance to flow into your life. Now, here is why the spiritual path seems straight and narrow. It's because since most people are stuck in a lower frequency, a lower dimension, the third dimension, everything that they do, because that's their personal frequency, is going to encapsulate that frequency. So the music that they're listening to is going to affect their body in a way that keeps them in a low frequency emotional state, so that they can't like get past their issues. They're going to listen to love songs about heartbreak, right? Or about sex, drugs, and money. Those are all separation ideas. And so those ideas completely or continually coming into their brain is going to kind of hardwire them into believing that everything is separate. Then there's the food that they eat. And this is a really important part too, because well, I'll say first, I want to say the people you hang around, whatever they believe that the world is going to affect you. I mean, everybody generally, until they're like 15 at least, believes the religion that they were raised around. And why is that? Because you become the frequency that you're surrounded by, that you're consuming, whether or not it's with your mouth. Then food. Food. So many people miss out on this one when they are embarking upon the spiritual journey, and that's what really holds people back. Is that there are different densities of food, different vibrations of food, different vibrations of color. Everything has vibrations, so you got to pay attention and ask yourself, like, what is this vibration? Like, what am I feeling about this, and do I want to become that? Am I that? That's what you ask yourself. Is that what I want to... Okay, that's a weird way of putting it. Back to the densities. There are dense foods. Very easy to understand. You have salt. It's so dense. It's a crystal. You have crystal sugar. That's so dense. You have liquefied sugar, like maple syrup, and agave nectar, and corn syrup, and high fructose corn syrup. These are still crystals, and they're still freaking dense. All forms of starch are the densest foods that exist, and they're all forms of sugar. So I'm talking about potatoes, sweet potatoes, some fruits and vegetables. Some of them, well, most of them now because they're genetically modified. Um, and then you have like your candies, you have your alcohol. That's a starch. That's sugar. And all of these things, they're all acidic. Does the body damage. Throws off your homeostasis and your pH balance. But to sum it up, very simply put, that stuff traps you in a lower dimension. It traps your mind into 3D thinking. So you're eating 3D foods, and most of the food you're eating it for emotional reasons. Comfort food, think about it. Or like you call the person you love honey or sweetie because those foods invoke feelings of love. The food is such a spiritual thing, and we eat for emotional reasons most of the time. It's emotional addiction, so balance. If we're upset, then you eat something to balance that out instead of just staying holistic yourself. So if you are someone that's like a meat eater, that's like the densest thing you could eat besides sugar, and a sugar eater too, or whatever, and you like dense foods, you like your mac and cheese and your rice and your grains and your starches, and then you watch this video and you're like, man, I want to, or one of my videos, and you want to start getting spiritual, so you try to start meditating, and because you've heard the benefits, but you think meditation's not for me. This is difficult. Like, I'm getting bored, or my mind is just covered with thoughts, and it's just annoying and weird, and I'd rather watch my favorite TV show, and I feel like that could be spiritual for me. I'd rather go smoke some weed. That is my meditation, people say. Well, marijuana is another. It's less dense than most things that most 3D people are around, so that's why they love their marijuana, because it takes them to that higher density. But then when you come down from it again, you're back where you started, and it's not that high of a it's not that high of a frequency. Like, it's higher than 3D, but it's not that high, and you can get way higher if you stop using it and you change your diet and what you consume. So if you want to have a clear mind and you want to be able to meditate clearly, you have to stop putting in dense things into your body. So you have to stop eating dense foods. You have to stop eating starch. You have to stop drinking alcohol and milk. You have to stop eating animals. That's why fasting is so important and talked about in spiritual cultures and in religious texts, because in the past people still ate, they ate their starch and they ate their meat and they drank their milk, but then they would practice fasting so that they could have like a spiritual day. Remember, like Sunday or Saturday, that was the holy day. They compartmentalized their weeks so they could work, not eat, be spiritual, and like stay sane, and then work. But here in America, it's just work, take 3-day vacation, work, wait for Friday. That's why most people here are insane. It's an insane asylum. America. It's a industry and an insane asylum. The insane part's kind of a byproduct of the industry part. But I digress. So, back to what I was saying. Uh, if you take my advice here, you will tap into new parts of your brain and you'll experience things you never experienced before. You'll find new peace that you never found before. Once you get past the spiritual issues that arise that you've been, sweeping under the rug, and you'll come back better than ever. Even if you go back to eating meat after that, it'll have been worth it for you. You'll definitely notice the benefits after. But the thing I'm realizing today that really inspired me to make this video is that when you embark upon that sort of journey by changing everything that you're consuming, and I'm not talking about just food, so music too, like you can't eat the diet that I'm talking about eating and then listen to like gangster rap. You can't. It's not harmonious, and it's just try it out. If you want to, just try it out. You got, like, for me, I'm not even really listening to music anymore. For the past couple of weeks, I was tuning into like the highest frequencies that I resonated with and could find, like Bach and Beethoven and Mozart and Krishna Das, Indian kirtan music, shamanic drumming, Native American chants. But now that's just still too human, too low frequency, too dense for me. So I've been just listening to the sounds of birds chirping and nature and bugs buzzing, and eventually your heartbeat will be enough music for you. But we got so many distractions, we can't even hear our heartbeats most of the time. Sad. So back to what I was saying, the reason I got inspired to make this is because I've gotten so high frequency that I realized a disharmony in my life, which is that I still a little bit have been trying to live a dense life. Like, I've been trying to live 3D. You could say materialistically, even though that it's not what most people would think of as materialistic. I've been like writing down my goals and plans as if they're separate from me. You'll come to understand this in due time. That's not even the issue, because it all has to do with whether or not you're actually conscious while you're doing it. But like yesterday, today I woke up and I felt great, and then I remembered the things that I wrote down in my to-do list, and I started to get up to do them. And then I was like, wait, I don't have all the energy for this, but I want to. And there was all this conflict in me. And I just laid back down. I was like, all right, I'm just going to lay here and breathe until, the universe tells me to move on. And I'm feeling fantastic, because I don't have to start my day if I'm not feeling fantastic. And then my day carried on, and I had a great day just following my intuition. And now I'm laying on the floor, meditating, and I had an idea for something I wanted to cook. Well, I don't cook, I'm raw, but you get the idea. Anyway, so I got up quickly to start doing it, and I was so overwhelmed with my inspiration and my excitement for making this recipe that I lost my breath, or I wasn't paying attention to my breath anymore, and I stood up and I instantly got tunnel vision. Like, instantly my ears started ringing, and like I could barely see. Then I totally like blacked out, and I didn't fall down. I grabbed the wall and I sat down carefully and laid down, and then I made this video, because I realized, like, that's dense activity, that's physical activity, thinking that food in the recipe is separate from me, and acting like that, and acting like if I don't act upon this idea in this recipe in my mind right now, then I'm gonna lose it, and it's gonna go somewhere else, and I'm gonna miss out. that is three-dimensional thinking, and it's not compatible with what I am consuming. You know, if I want to go make that recipe, I have to go eat some grains. I have to go eat some chips, um, or eat some stimulants, like most people. You know, have a cup of coffee, um, some tea with some caffeine, some sugar. You know, that will get me going, and I won't pass out, and then I can do that. But is that like the ultimate goal here? You know, when you use your inner vision, you know, you can see all the possibilities in the higher purpose from behind what you want and what you're doing, and um, all of that happened just so I can make this video and share it with you to help other people out. So go with the flow is what I'm saying, and make sure that all of you is in harmony with all of you. So do everything with intention. If you want to have a spiritual day, don't eat. Or just eat things that you think are spiritual. Follow your intuition, or eat things that you think are less dense. I could go into the chakras and explain how they go from the earth to the root to the water to the fire to the air to the sound to the light to the thought. It's less dense, less dense, less dense, less dense. So if you want to be up here, you know, this is where Christ is. If you want to be up here where Christ consciousness, Krishna consciousness is, and you want to use your third eye or any of this stuff, and you want to get out of the root chakra, which is fear and safety and sexual desire and the desire for freedom. If you want to move past that and see what's going on with inner sight and being one with everything, change your diet. Try it out and change what you consume for drinking. Change the music that you listen to, and practicing abstinence is the best way to do that in every sense, because then you can be aware of the energy exchanges that are going with, you know, in and out of you, and you can see how every single thing affects you. And then eventually you reach a point where you eat one thing, or you drink one thing, or you listen to one song, and you completely shift like a chameleon into that thing that you just put in your body, and you understand, like, oh my, like the days when I would eat like a stir fry with 20 ingredients, no wonder my mind was all over the place, because I was taking in all of these tuning forks, all these energies mixing around, not to mention all the music I would listen to in a day, and we're just bombarded with so much information. And I know that most of you did not watch this whole video, so you're distracted. But if you watch the whole thing, I think you're on a pretty cool path. And no, I'm probably not going to have a shirt on for many of my videos because I breathe with my skin. So do you. Infinite love always.